Morning, guys. I'm going to video an exercise that teaches you to use your lower transverse abdominals, and that is where we need to be really strong as runners and as fitness people and really as upright human beings. So the one thing that I'm going to ask you to do is going to be to drop your pubic bone down towards the mat. We're going to do this on our back, and it will make the low back slightly disconnect from the mat. This has to happen. But I don't want you to arch your low back. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to drop your pubic bone down, which is a hinge of the pelvis on the femur. And so I did that video previously. If you need to go back and look at it again to help your brain get convinced that that's what I want, you can look at that again. If your low back touches the mat, or if you push your low back into the mat on purpose, it turns the muscle that we're trying to turn on off, because that's the way the body works. The body feels stability. It no longer turns this muscle on because you're telling it, I don't need it. We've got our low back locked down. We're good to go. So you have to get comfortable with letting the low back just slightly disconnect. It does not have to be a big disconnect until you get stronger and more comfortable with the concept. So what I'm going to do is lay down, and I'm going to show you just a real basic drill. It'll probably take you maybe 5 minutes at the most. You can do this exercise as many times as you want. It's a stabilizer exercise, so those muscles need to be strong. So just as a review, and I did post the pictures of this earlier, the lower transverse abdominis goes from your hip points to your pubic bone and goes this direction, line of pull, this direction. If when you lay down you feel yourself do this, that's not the right thing. Once the pubic bone drops, that's it for that line of pull. Everything else is going to be this direction. Once we're in the exercise, you should feel considerable tone underneath your fingers. It kind of just depends on how weak the muscle has gotten. If you're pretty strong here already, you might not notice a huge change, but you should notice some change. So I'm going to lay down just so that you can get a sense of it, and you can play with it, and you can post comments if it's something that you're not understanding. So I find it's easier if your feet can slide a little bit, because then you're not getting hung up on the yoga mat if you're having to be laying on a yoga mat. If you're at carpet works great. So we're going to come down, big toes together, heels apart, legs are together. And you're going to drop that pubic bone down, and when you do that, the low back will just lightly disconnect. I say mine disconnects quite a bit more probably than you're comfortable with, but I've been doing this for a while, so I'm pretty strong here. So once you have that, just lay your hands where you can monitor. Through the midline, bring up the right leg. Through the midline, bring up the left leg. Once you have it there, just make sure that you haven't pressed your low back down. If you have, bring the legs down and start it again. Make sure the pubic bone stays dropped down. I'm just going to lightly toe tap. If you notice, my legs stay together. Always come into the midline. That's where your power is. Always at the midline. If the legs go out, you've lost your power. So from there, you can start with toe taps. And you can do 2 feet. This one's more challenging because it's more weight of the leg, but it's good too. And the slower you go, the more you're going to get out of the exercise. Don't use momentum. I want this part of the body to be super strong. Once you're comfortable with 2 leg toe taps, you can take it to single leg with an extension. As the leg slides out, we're still strong. We're not pushing the low back down. Foot dorsiflexes at the end, and then you can drag the heel back. Low back has not touched. And again, the slower you go, the better. Knees are still together, inner thigh still touching. Come down and do the other side. So this is a really quick and easy way to just fire up those abdominals. Just make sure you have them. And the other thing to really watch in your body is that you haven't pushed the rib cage up. Make sure that stays down as well, so our canister is nice and strong. And then when you've finished, toe tap, and then sit up. So play with that one. See if you're able to do it. See if you're able to get comfortable with the idea of using that lower transverse abdominis. See if you can get comfortable with the idea of not driving the movement with your low back. Low back is just along for the ride. We really want this front of the body to be our strength. So let me know how it goes. I hope you guys have a great day.